What's going on, folks? I am Scott Schertzen alongside Mr. Robert Manning. Davion and Ryan will be on shortly. So basically, you're stuck with us in the meantime. This is Tales from the Film Set, where we talk about weird stuff that happens in the film industry, our own experience, our own spin. And in my case, because I'm killing time, I have a cup of white wine in a Cluck U cup. For those of you who do not know what Cluck U is, it's a location out here on the East Coast. It is a chicken place that makes you sign a waiver before you eat a lot of their food. Because it is so hot that basically they are not legally responsible, if you end up burning yourself or otherwise dying. So tonight we are going to be talking a lot of X-Men 97. It is hard to believe at this point that we are now onto the season finale already, which blows my mind. 9 episodes in. So we'll be recapping some of the better episodes in there, some better moments, previewing what we think is going to happen, what I think is going to be happening. But first of all, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. Happy to be here. And I'm very excited. I've watched all the episodes of the X-Men 97 series, and it's phenomenal. And I'm very excited to talk about this today. And it's been a good week. And I'm excited for an event we got coming up later on this month. So,
which we will talk about in a couple of days. We got some other stuff at the end of the month. Oh, yeah, we got a myriad of, a lot of different things here. So, but first, like I said, we're going to be talking a little bit about X-Men 97, reviewing the season. Like I said, in this case, I'm kind of stalling for time until Day and Ryan get here, where we can break down what we think is going to happen. But before we get into that, let's start it off. I got to address something with X-Men 97 that still hurts my soul. And all I have to do really is just show the picture. Gambit, you have to understand, was my favorite character. I'm still holding out hope. Hashtag Gambit still lives is kind of the hashtag I'm kind of running with in this particular case. But this is a show that really, honestly, amazingly, was so much better and so much more serious than I think any of us thought the show was going to be. I was skeptical. You guys remember a couple of 3 months ago, we did a video about X-Men 97. Will it suck? And then immediately after the first 2 episodes, I'm like, you know what? It's actually kind of good. Who would have thought? So of course they fired the head runner, the showrunner on that, and we have season 2 upcoming. But talk a little bit in this case before I get to some of my own stuff. Thoughts on the season, thoughts on what happened, and anything that stood out or didn't.
So I will say what I do like about this, and the problem that we've got nowadays is people are spoiled. We live in a generation where everything is streamed and everything just comes out at once.
Yeah.
And I've explained this to somebody because there's people on the internet being like, oh, this show has lost viewership because it's a weekly episode. And I commented, I said, you don't do this show justice unless it's weekly. That's what you had to deal with back in the 90s. You didn't get to watch 10 episodes all at once. You had to wait every single week for a new episode. And it's the same thing with this show, is you got to wait each episode. And the awesome other thing that I like about it is every single episode makes you want to watch the next episode. They always throw a cliffhanger. Something happens, like somebody dies or something bad happens, and it makes you go, I can't wait until next week.
Or even certain cases like in the earlier episodes where, Cyclops gives a cup of coffee to Magneto. And Magneto's like, poison, dark roast. To kind of show that there's a small bond between them and they're willing to let bygones be bygones. That, to be fair, that episode also showed up with Jean Grey versus Madeline Pryor. But it was still one of those things that the show had so many good things going about it that you kind of wondered, why? This is Disney. Disney is not supposed to do good content on Disney Plus anymore. And yet here we have a show that, by God, is amazing. And I have a theory about why that is, but it's such a smart, well-written show that it's hard to believe that something like this, even in some cases, can exist on Disney Plus, because their history and what's going on with that, with this issue with the Marvel, with everything with Marvel, it's like you have a show right now that has, in a lot of ways, flown under the radar and actually been really, really good. And that's where I think a lot of the issues come in with it. But go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's because Kevin Feige himself grew up with the original show and knew if he bombed the show, that people would lose all hope in Marvel. if you would have taken a show like this and you just made it junk, like there was a lot of like you were skeptical, like I remember those conversations of being skeptical about the show, and it's lived up, like you said, more to the expectations than anyone expected.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, oh, they're just doing it for nostalgic facts, and I really enjoy the show. I think it works. We get, I like how they're mixing the actual comic books with the show, which is I know they did that back in the original,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not going to mention it yet. But the thing that happened in last week's episode is definitely comic book accurate, and it's been an joy to watch and see everybody go crazy, all the different videos of people's reactions, and I love the generation we live in for that fact. Not the whole like, oh, let's wait to binge it. You get to more see people's reactions of stuff than you did back in the day.
Well, what's funny about it is the reason why they didn't drop it all at once in this case is because they wanted to drag it out. One of the problems that I think a lot of streaming services have is when you drop an entire season in one shot, people will sign up right on the spot, binge it all, and then immediately basically just cancel the service. So this way, they at least allows them the opportunity to spread it out a little bit more and get a little more cash bang for your buck in this case. The fact that, like you said, that it's spread out like it is increases the anticipation, increases the curiosity of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Exactly that. No binge on this whatsoever because it forces you to have to wait this out. I think one of the first shows that ever binged ever was like Arrested Development season 4 back for Netflix. That's what got me signed up for Netflix on that.
Yeah.
But I think what has made this show work, and this is going to sound crazy, is the same system that caused Clone Wars and Rebels to work so well. It flew under the radar because Disney and Marvel were focused on other projects instead, looking at all the other things out there that Disney and Marvel had no involvement in this series. If you look at like Ahsoka, Filoni had so many good hits, so many things, things were going well. And then Ahsoka became their flagship. What happened to Ahsoka? It dragged. It was slow. It was sluggish. It had problems. But it was, and Mandalorian also, where Mandalorian became a hit. And I think the executives started to see it more as a cash cow and a stock option, an option to raise the stock price. So they got more involved and hurt the series. Will that happen with X-Men 97? Possibly. Season 2 has already been done at this point. If season 2 is a smash and they're seeing all the subscription count going up and all the money they're making, they may get involved and make season 3, honestly, a Mandalorian season 3. I don't know.
I thought 2 and 3 was already confirmed. I thought 3 was already confirmed.
3, I believe, is confirmed, but 2, I think, has been written and finalized, or basically written and recorded. So 3 is still out there, but they haven't done a lot with it. It's confirmed, but I don't think they've written anything yet.
Okay, which makes sense because they've had this show, the first season, filmed since like I think 21 or 22 when I met Cal Dodds at the convention.
Yes. But you look at like I said, in this case here, we've gotten to know Sunspot a little bit. Guy is actually a really cool guy. I sent a message today to basically to chat with him going forward. But
who we come up?
Guy, who voices Sunspot.
Yeah, and then you got to also you speak of Gambit earlier. You got to talk to his voice actor.
Yes, him and George Booza. Thanks to that guy down below. Subscribe to his channel. He's got 175,000 subscribers for a reason, and he gets people better than I do. Or we do. But yeah, it's funny because I'm going to tell you a quick story that he had mentioned on that show at one point. AJ Locascio, who is the voice of Gambit on this, and previously he was the voice of Marty McFly in Back to the Future of the Game, where he got to start. They were reading the script, and he found out his character was going to die in that episode, and he's like, "Damn it!" Because they don't really know what the storyline's going to be,
right?
And you start reading the script, and you find out, crap, they're killing me off. All right, hold out hope they're going to bring me back. Hold out hope they're going to bring it back. So
right, which I think is a very offense. Which was a very bold move because Gambit is such a loved character,
dude.
That
it hurt my soul.
That it, no offense, but is one of the most tortured Marvel characters. We get told, oh, we're gonna get a Gambit movie, and then that never happens. Which I hope in Deadpool 3, I hope we get Channing Tatum as as Gambit. There's been rumors of that, but anyways. I hope either at the end of this next episode the 10th episode, either in a mid-credit scene, which I hope we get a mid-credit scene. We may not, because I think Marvel kind of stopped doing
Maybe,
those.
you know what? Yeah.
If he's not in the last episode, yes, I hope so too. If he's not in the last episode, hopefully we'll get something teasing him for season 2. Maybe some kind of time travel, because we do have Cable. Cable can time travel. I know now we're getting into predictions, but I'm just saying.
We're going to hold off on the predictions. I've got a few of my own.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Which I think you probably are in the same line that I am, and probably Toy Quest 101, that when you see the adamantium ripped out in episode 9, spoilers, by the way, on that one. I put spoilers out at the bottom. So
yeah, you literally said with spoilers.
I with spoilers, so yeah, you have to accept it for what it is here. By the way, Bruce Willis is dead in Sixth Sense. Spoiler there too. But but in this case, if you know the comic strip or the comic book, you know what happens after this. Yes. And I'm really curious. That would set up such a cliffhanger for season 2 that I think we'll get into that. Like I said, Day and Ryan better hurry the heck up, man. Yeah, actually, I really want to get that going.
Because he goes full. You're talking about he goes full crazy.
Yes, he goes full Super Saiyan. I mean, in this case, it'll bring to a head basically one of the main baddies from what was it, Capcom versus SNK? Oh no, not Capcom. Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. That's where I think that kind of cliffhanger at the end of season 4. I'm sorry, the end of this season here, I think would set up a season 2 arc and maybe even a season 3 arc. Yeah. But for now, I mean, the sheer, I want to call it chutzpah that this show has to go on the road that they did. I mean, showing, the blood that they've got, to show, like I said, that scene where basically there we go. That right there, that's Disney, man. That's Disney Plus.
I have a feeling he is going to come back, but not the way you think. It'll at least something to do with this.
Certain X-Men. Okay. Oh,
you know what? Sinister.
Well, Sinister's still in the picture. I mean, I guess I'll just throw it out there right now. We'll come back to it as we need to. I mean, my opinion personally is I think they're going to go in this direction here. I think they're basically we're going to see Onslaught at the end of that episode. Oh, because that is one hell of a cliffhanger if you're going to get it. I'm tired of waiting. Davion and Ryan can show up when they show up, but I think personally, if it follows the storyline of the comic books, after Magneto rips out at the adamantium out of Wolverine, Charles Xavier goes nuts and just does a wave on Magneto, and you get Onslaught. So, Apocalypse could happen too. Yeah. They could push into an AOA Age of Apocalypse style.
Now, question in the comics, because I'm not 100. I'm caught up with some stuff, but I'm not caught up. Does Gambit at the Genova thing, does that happen in the comics with Gambit passing away and stuff?
Not that I recall, but I don't have a strong enough answer on that. He probably has died in some iterations. I know in the X-Men animated series, in the X-Men animated series from the 90s, in the Age of Apocalypse storyline where Charles Xavier was killed, I know he was missing an arm in the fight against the humans. That I saw, and I thought that was ballsy back at the time. Okay, no, he doesn't. All right, good to know. Thank you.
Then that makes me think that they'll definitely. I know, like with the show, obviously they don't always follow the comics, but it is interesting to say you killed off a character when they don't really die in the comics. So it makes me think they have to come back somehow.
I really hope so. I mean, listen, here's the thing. I personally hate dream sequences or retcons, or anything like that. That does annoy me. It always has. So on one hand, I want Gambit back, but on the other hand, I feel it's always such an easy out that it would irk me a little bit. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I also say, I did like the direction, because without going that direction, Rogue wouldn't have went as like at this point, there's been theories either Rogue is actually a villain right now, or I think in the comics, Rogue acts like she's a villain in this scene so she can actually
get close
Magneto or whatever, make him think. So, but she wouldn't have gotten so angry if they didn't do the whole Gambit thing. Because if Magneto, which obviously this wouldn't happen, but if Magneto died, I don't think she would have as much as reaction. but she could. I don't know. That's a
But see,
good
here's
thing.
the funny thing about this. I'm not gonna. This isn't a great picture, but this is Rogue from Age of Apocalypse. So
Okay.
that's the look that she had in the storyline where Charles Xavier was killed. And you see that look there versus that look there. That is very close to the Age of Apocalypse look right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's Gambit becomes a horseman. That is a possibility also. That would hurt my soul a little bit too, but that does seem to make some sense. That
Right.
how many?
And I
How
mean,
many times? Yeah.
sorry, I was gonna say
No, I
I
was going to
just
say, yeah. How many times does the Scavenger prove himself a hero? But in this case, I mean, they may be going in an Age of Apocalypse direction here, where Magneto is fighting against Apocalypse because Charles Xavier gets killed. I mean, listen, my feeling is, my gut is saying it's going to be Onslaught. I could be wrong there. I'm going to find out. It's going to suck because we've got a day and a half to wait on this. But that's also where I think you said the beauty of this is the fact that we had to wait and think this out. It's amazing. It's been 2 months already, which blows my mind in a lot of ways. But in 2 months that flew by. But I think it's going to be really curious to see. And I love the fact that at the end of the day, they did this once a week because it makes you wait, it makes you wonder, and you can't get it out of your system. It's just always there.
Also, that's an announcement too. That are we for sure doing that?
Who to the what now?
Us gonna be live, right?
3 a.m. Eastern when the final episode is going to be released. We are going to be doing a live stream of it, reaction,
and we're gonna be on a half hour before, right?
Or yes. Ryan wants to do a half an hour, 2:30 to 4-ish, probably half an hour prior. The actual half hour show itself, and then the half hour recap at this point.
Yep.
So it's going to be an hour and a half. Ryan may run point. I don't know. Depends if I'm on a film set. I may have to adjust it a little bit. I don't know yet. So, but one way or another, we are going to. Oh yeah.
We'll be able to nerd with you all.
Yes.
Because I mean, this is, and that's what I'm happy about us doing. That is to the last episode, especially with every episode, just. It keeps building up. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't expect the whole Magneto ripping out. I've seen it in the comics. I knew about that. But for them to do the full effect, like you said, with the blood and stuff, for them to do that, it's like, whoa. I was like, what the? I had to rewind it, and then we watch it. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. You have that scene where you see him like struggling and the metal's starting to move. You're like, all right, I know where this is going. But
right,
dude, but even how
about to pass away.
Yeah. I mean, even if you look at the picture itself and how it is so well drawn in this case. Props to whomever drew this thing, because this is just a beautiful. It was just a still shot, and all they did was just move it on camera a little bit as necessary. But that is such an absolutely amazing dramatic shot there,
and it's an accurate picture to the comic books.
Yes, it is. But also keeping to the motif of the series itself and the animation itself. But in this case, to basically come back real quick to the Age of Apocalypse side of it, in this storyline for Age of Apocalypse, Rogue and Magneto are married, and I believe they have a kid too. So that is still possibly on the table for season 2. I don't know yet. Wow. But
I will say one thing I noticed in that last episode, and why I don't believe they're fully bad guys, is the way they were attacking the other mutants. They weren't attacking them to hurt them.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, obviously not Magneto. I'm talking about Rogue and
Wolverine at one point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. But then also it opens up the question in this case, on top of that, is Forge still alive? Because remember, Forge flew into the mountain. I'm really hoping he survives, because I always like Forge anyway. And I really kind of hope he survived that. But there was a scene in there where, the X-Jet just flew into the mountain.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, because we didn't see a body, he's alive.
Yeah. And sometimes even when you see a body, they come back anyway. I mean, Morph died and he came back.
Yeah.
So,
And I will say, I love seeing Captain America. I love seeing, we got the Hulk in the one.
Morph transformed into the Hulk.
Yeah. And Morph smashed. And then, seeing Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man was in the original by cameo only.
Right.
In the Phoenix Saga. I think it was episode 3 or 5. I forget which.
I think that was Disney trying to hit that, and which we did get to talk to a certain person, but the audio didn't go through. But
I did
I
speak
know.
to him, by the way, today. So
Okay.
yes, Spider-Man. Yeah,
Yes.
the guy who voiced Flash Thompson on the Spider-Man series from the '90s, also the main cast in Jag. Rob, you and I have been talking to him. I got to touch base in a couple months because
Yep.
he's filming a movie right now, so he's got to focus on that.
I will say he did tell you yes. By the way, your answer is yes. He would want to come back as Flash Thompson. He's
Yes.
very excited. So, he really enjoys what they've done with the X-Men '97 series. What we're talking about, guys, is I got to interview Flash Thompson from the original Spider-Man, but the audio there was none. So all you get,
yeah, but we've got it once before, so it's not a big deal. I don't mind.
Yeah.
That.
But it's funny. You see me talking, but just no audio, and it was like a minute long, and yeah, exactly, just like that. And we were having a good time, and then yeah, but
the audio is lost to time.
But yeah, so I hope they keep with the cameo. Sorry, I hope they keep with that.
Here's the funny thing. I'm not really that big on the cameos necessarily. I'm okay with it as long as basically it doesn't go over the top as like a member berries thing. Space Jam 2, for example, went so over the top with all the things they showed. That kind of stuff, I don't know. It feels like an easy way out. But like I said, the writing on this has been so sharp, so clever, so unique that it's hard to believe this came. Like I said, this came from Disney. I mean, I don't know. I'm really curious in this case, off topic a little bit, but I'm really curious to see what the ratings were for Doctor Who on Disney Plus. I can't imagine they were that good. But the ratings on this, from my understanding, have been really good. They've been quietly growing. And, there's been a lot of the underground. It's obviously not drawing the attention like from the mainstream press that you would expect, because obviously Deadpool, Wolverine, understandably, sure. But also even like, Marvel Phase 5, whatever they've got going on there. There's talk that they're going to be doing the new Avengers series that's going to have, new Captain America. Ms. Marvel is supposed to be the lead of that too. So,
yeah. Also, I suggest you have
you know what? Yeah, good call. Thank you. Good call.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So, all right, Rob, you're in charge of that.
I don't know anything about Discord.
Well, it's a good opportunity to learn.
Okay, I will learn, sir.
No, we'll figure it out. But it's definitely not a bad idea. On that. I think we have one for the entire company as a whole, though.
Okay.
We haven't used it though.
But yeah, I will say, there was another theory. I don't know if they will go this route. There was a theory that I would love to see, just for the simple fact that I doubt it'll happen, but they were speculating that this last episode could have something to do with Deadpool Wolverine.
Huh.
Because of
the hope
timing. Not. But I understand. I hope not either. But I don't know. That was something that was floating around back, a couple months before this even came out, that they were speculating because of how close, even though Deadpool doesn't come out until July, just because you have this so close, that it could have a reference. But then I think it was debunked. I don't know, but it'd be interesting if they did. It'd be interesting if they did a live action version. I know, rumors. Rumors. That's why I said rumors.
Here's that was when the original Marvel movies were coming out in Phase 1. The cameos and the mid-credit things. Most movies never really had mid-credit scenes for the most part. So it was neat to see what it was going to preview. Now you go to a movie, it doesn't even matter what it is. It could be a movie about soccer, and you're like, "Where's the mid-credit scene?"
Right.
And as a result, it watered down the uniqueness. And I think part of the problem is, part of the problem that with the series, also with everything, is the fact that Marvel has made it a point to try and promote their next product, and using the current product as a commercial for it.
Yeah.
I believe you have affiliate status on the Twitch side. At least we did on the sports side back in the day. I got to double check that. But they're very strict on what you can do inside and out, believe it or not.
Yeah. I will say it was ticked off. Actually, I forgot what I was saying. You just mentioned.
I ticked off about something, but I
was ticked off about something, but I can't remember because we read the Discord. I don't know. Never mind.
But no, I think in this case I'm really curious to see what ends up happening here. Like I said, Day and Ryan, if they show up, we'll talk about it a little bit. We'll hold on a couple minutes more on this. But I don't know. Do you think? Oh, go ahead.
I remember in Spider-Man No Way Home, the post-credit scene was a freaking trailer to Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And then when I went and rewatched the edited when they rebrought it to theaters because you got an extra scene of Matt Murdock in that version. I was like, oh, let's not stay for the end credit scenes because they're just going to show you Doctor Strange again. And then I found out it was actually a good scene where it showed basically there was no appearance of Spider-Man, but I assumed that they would just show the same scene because they were showing the same movie almost. But yes, you're right. They do like to propaganda their stuff. And, the first movie to do it, and I can't pronounce it, is Fear Butler Day Off.
Ferris Bueller?
Yeah, I think he's the one that started the end credit scenes, right?
God, it's funny. I remember Ferris Bueller back in the day.
Because
that was
Deadpool does a reference. Deadpool in the first movie, when you stayed until the end of the movie because you thought there was a credit. And oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Davion Busey.
I might have to look into that. I mean, I know we're monetized on this channel, but I should look into that a little further. Thank you. Well, I feel like you're becoming an ad for Twitch. I'm not against that, actually, believe it or not. How you doing, Day?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? I'm here. I'm alive. I'm well. I made it here.
Nice. And basically, we've been sitting here waiting for the last 25 minutes, killing time here. So you can have the opportunity to say your thoughts on X-Men 97, what you think is going to happen, where you think it's going to go, what you liked, what you didn't. Day, the floor is now yours. Go for it.
All right. So pretty much overall, with this next X-Men 97, I think this is a fantastic series. I love it. It's a much needed breath of fresh air from what we're going through in life. But it's like bringing back your old childhood memories, but with a little bit of maturity. Mature adults type moments. But at the same time, it's the essence that we needed. It's like it has the comic book feel. It has the old nostalgia of watching X-Men when it was on Fox. It's everything we needed and more. And I have nothing bad to say about it. I love that they interpret a lot of stuff from the comics. I love the fact that, especially that scene with Wolverine, that's kind of screwed me up. I wasn't expecting him to go that. That's some Walking Dead moment.
Yeah, you're talking that one right there, right?
Yeah. That's the Walking Dead.
Like I said, that was lifted straight out of the comics. So that was So again, the theory is in this guide is that maybe Onslaught's coming, which would be a great season 1 finale. You'd have to wait an entire year to see how they're going to handle Onslaught.
Apocalypse. No, they're saying apocalypse, but also I think Apocalypse is going to come. And
to that end there too, Apocalypse. That is the like I mentioned before. That is Rogue's Age of Apocalypse look.
Yeah.
So
I think Squirrel Girl should get introduced.
Matter Eater Lad. Woo!
Yeah. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, this is everything we needed. We want, and this director, the producer that Disney happened to fire because of certain things, I have to say, he actually put himself in a situation where they may have to hire his butt back.
Dude, okay. Talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Was there ever
why? I mean, they said it was an OnlyFans account. But seriously, what the crap's going on? The show is so well done. It's like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna fire the guy. So
they fired him because he had an OnlyFans account. At the time, people were doing certain things with OnlyFans, and I'm just gonna keep it as that. Not me, because you can't find an OnlyFans with me on it. But at the same time, there were certain things that happened. They saw some videos, and that's what led them to basically let him go.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
But
here's the thing. I know a guy that has an OnlyFans account. I have known him for many years. I don't know if I told you guys this story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did.
No.
Okay, Rob knows it, Day doesn't. Okay. Yeah, one of the guys that was one of the original sports guys that we had back in like the original group has an OnlyFans account and a very select group of fans that I guess he makes money with it because he is physically and in other ways physically endowed. So I don't know. I mean, OnlyFans is borderline mainstream. You had that one cast member from what was it, Sopranos, that paid off her house with it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. Is it really that big a deal?
My question is, if it has nothing to do with your production, obviously you're doing it at home. And no, I don't have an OnlyFans, but I'm just saying,
we know of.
I don't think it should affect somebody's career because they have another opportunity of making money, and it shouldn't make the studio look bad because somebody does something on their own time.
Well,
it's like the school team.
Yes, but I'm gonna have my own thought on that. Go ahead, Day.
But at the same time, depending on what type of content that you're providing, because not every content is, especially when it comes to Disney, even though Disney has some other things I'm not going to exclude because that's Disney. But on the Disney defense, they don't want nothing coming back to bite them in the behind. And I understand that. And it says, even though, let's say, for example, the person that created was a porn star. You think Disney's going to ride the coattails and be like, oh, keep him? No, Disney's going to do quality control and probably let him go.
Because but you know how much here and here's my question. If they don't bring him back, because there's a possibility because they fired him, they don't bring him back, but he's also made them a bunch of money because of it. Do we think season 2 will live up to season 1? Or no, actually it will because it was already filmed, right?
Season 2 has been recorded. It's being animated right now. They're probably going to have to go back and post to do some more voice work. Because again, typically voice work is done before animation and then a little pickups after animation. So.
But he was the writer, correct?
He was the writer.
Bo DeMeo, yes. Yeah, he was the writer and director all the way through. He was his baby.
So okay. So the question is, so then season 3, because season 2 was already done, or at least the writing part. Season 3, do we think it'll live up to the other seasons? Because you're going to have a different writer. You may have the Star Wars 7, 8, and 9 kind of thing because you had different writers going back and forth.
Here's the thing. Typically in any kind of series of any sort, TV or movie, the third iteration or series or season, whatever it is, has to be somewhat different from the first 2. You look at Rocky 3, he loses that one. You look at Mandalorian, they changed the format where basically it's about her in this case. You see all of these series, even X-Men, original X-Men, you had these longer story arcs where, I mean, the Phoenix Saga took up pretty much the entire season. So instead of like 1 off and 2 off, you had an entire run. Phoenix Saga was part 1 to 5, right. And that even had a precursor 2 or 3-parter episode that aired on prime time on Fox, by the way, back in the day. To basically prelude that saga. So season 3 episode, movie 3 always has to be a little bit different. I think in this case, it is going to be different in some ways. I'm not confident. I'm not going to say it's going to be good. I'm not going to say it's going to be bad. But I am going to say one thing I want to show you real quick. You talked about Disney and OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? I just logged into my Disney Plus account. You have on Disney Plus, Lamar Odom, Sex, Drugs, and the Kardashians, and the Kardashians itself.
But you have to have Hulu.
But my point is that but Disney Plus is advertising it. It was on the front page, man.
No, you don't have to have Hulu for that. There's certain things that Disney is starting to understand that you can't always keep a family dynamic of
But
a household name. And I get it. But at the same time, what Disney is doing is they forgetting one thing, and that's the magic. Family oriented. That's where your money making is. Everything else is whatever.
the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan! Woo! Welcome in. 35 minutes late. No,
I like your hair. Hey, yeah, listen, you had work. You know, paying the bills better sometimes. So.
No, we're happy to have you here today.
Ryan,
we can't hear you, Ryan.
Yes, because I was trying to set up my audio and you guys were just talking. Like, give me a minute.
We're excited to see you.
Oh, sorry. Just trials and tribulations. Houses going on sale this weekend, so it's a lot of stuff going on. So what am I missing? X-Men 97. Reviewing. Yes, okay. Awesome show. Why aren't you watching, people? You should be watching.
You know what? We've kind of doubled as the spoilers of what we're thinking for season 3. Comments have been coming in that way. So I've sort of blended it from killing time to what I was already going to do anyway. So if you want, I've got a bunch of pictures. Fire off your thoughts. Go for it.
All right, hold
on. He's like, yes.
All right, give it to me. What you got?
My first thought in this case, you know, they're talking about Apocalypse. I'm voting Onslaught.
Onslaught would be nice to actually do a change of pace, considering we are still talking in X-Men 97, so we are still talking about X-Men as it was being written in the 90s, and considering how much of the original comic stuff that they've actually stuck to, whether it be Tolerance's Extinction or the storyline with Storm and losing the powers and everything, it makes a lot of sense for it to be Onslaught, because Onslaught was like the big revelation of like combining Professor Xavier and Magneto back in the 90s and giving him like this big 90s bulk outfit. Even the look of Onslaught is just
oh my god, yeah,
ridiculously 90s. You know, just a big hulking dude that has more muscles than he has like neck space. That's so typical Marvel 90s that, considering how we saw things play out in episode 9 with the two of them with that mental exchange, and whether or not Charles actually implanted himself in any way, shape, or form into Magneto's body, and whether or not anything has retroactively gone back into him, it makes all the sense in the world to actually have this, especially if they are going to be doing a season 2, because they've already done great with actually showcasing a brand new villain in Bastion for this particular season. So it makes all the sense in the world to actually go ahead and find someone else that they can actually find and incorporate into the chronological series that they're doing with the animated show, rather than trying to rely on old staples. Because that's the thing. I think when a lot of people heard that Mr. Sinister was going to be the big bad of this, people were like, really? Sinister?
No, but it makes sense. Like I tell people, you always start with a lower tier villain on the first episode, first season. Second season, you do with someone that's close to bad, but not that characteristics of bad. And then the third season, you step the game up, so you could basically make it, oh my God, what have I missed that leads up to this?
And then season 5, you have really crappy animation, and you kill off your number 1 on the call sheet.
Right, but that's the thing about Onslaught. Onslaught really isn't necessarily like a bad guy. He's more of like a chaotic neutral compared to like some of the other characters in X-Men.
But I will say this. Onslaught, yeah, he's a chaotic neutral.
2 words I've always wanted to say to you. Shut up.
Yeah, I like that.
That was great. Oh my God, thank you.
But you need to make him a bad guy so he could be a neutral bad guy. Like, it's not like, oh my God, he's a bad guy. No, you got to make him a bad guy in the beginning.
Lawful
right,
evil.
But even then, you could say Magneto isn't a bad guy. He's just somebody who has a differing point of view. One that a lot of people would probably be like, you know what, Magneto is right. It's the Killmonger debate again.
Villains don't often believe themselves to be villains. Just misunderstood.
Yeah, that is true. That's just like the Joker.
Yeah. Well, the Joker's, he's chaotic evil if ever.
He's just ahead of the curve. He's not that guy.
But I don't know. I think Onslaught, these guys down below are thinking Apocalypse. Ryan, what do you have, if anything?
I didn't think that.
I thought you said Apocalypse. Or
that was the comments. No, Brian.
I would not be surprised if Apocalypse does make an impact, but considering what Apocalypse has already been able to take care of, what? Oh yeah, I love this scene. I love this scene so much.
This is not a brutality.
But even the line in there, it's like, I've been in a lot of wars, buds. People, the bravest always die first. And I've wondered a little bit if that was actually a reference to Magneto or a reference to Wolverine himself being the one who's going to die. I don't know if he meant that for himself or for Magneto.
He meant it for Magneto.
You think so?
If Wolverine was really the bravest. No, because think about it. Magneto is being very forthright and very upfront about what he's doing. Whereas Wolverine is the guy that stabbed him in the back. I wouldn't necessarily call Wolverine brave in this moment. But,
I mean, in a way, that was brave. Because he sacrificed.
He wasn't expecting a sacrifice. He was expecting to take out his liver. All right?
Yeah, I was going to say, Magneto was bleeding out at this point, too.
Right. And I don't know if Magneto has a way of healing himself like the way Wolverine does. Even if the adamantium is extracted from the body, Wolverine's going to bounce back. He may have the bone claws from here on out, but Logan's fine.
Which that's another thing that I've seen that, and this happens in the comics, is Wolverine didn't know he had the bone claws. Mm-hmm. Yes, we saw it in the live action movies, but in the comics, he didn't know he had the bone claws until the antimanium comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Adamantium.
Yes, that word.
It's like adamantium. No.
I was saying antimanium.
Well, no, that's the thing. Well, that's the thing, though. We also are still dealing with a Logan who, like in the movies, does not have all of his memories. Yeah. This is why Logan ends up becoming expanded into, like, the old man Logan story. And you look back at how far he's actually lived because of his regenerative properties. So, he's probably going to learn a lot about himself next season. He may go on another discovery, and it'll probably be less to do with Weapon X and more to do with where he actually comes from.
Wait, can I add this? We're talking animaniacs.
Well, but even you bring in certain other characters. Obviously, Nightcrawler here. Nightcrawler was only 2 or 3 episodes in the original series, but he has fit so well into this one. The sword fight scene that they had, where he's literally holding 3 swords, 2 hands and a tail. I thought that was so well done.
They only had him in 2 episodes in the original.
2 or 3. It wasn't. He had the first episode where he was in the monastery, where he taught about, basically taught God to Wolverine. And then there was one.
There was the episode where he learned about Mystique and Rogue and the family relation.
That might have been it. There was only 2 or 3.
Wow.
That was
he's definitely had more episodes in this series than he had in the last one.
But I think he's had more popularity of his character too. So.
The fact that he's in the main lead itself, in the main intro is great.
Well, yeah, Nightcrawler's always been a popular character, but he's also one that you kind of have to do with a delicate touch because he is probably one of the most emotionally open of the X-Men, which doesn't necessarily help for drama or creating any kind of like great storyline around it, but because he has that religious background, it makes him so much easier to talk to. He is pretty much the moral center of the X-Men at this moment, when it seems like everybody else is down their own personal shithole, whether it be Scott, whether it be Jean, whether it be Logan, whether it be Rogue. Everyone has got some mental trauma at this point, except possibly for Nightcrawler.
He's found his peace.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, which was interesting in the original episode. They talked, he talked heavy about God, which I thought that was a little bit of a heavy-handed subject for like a Saturday morning cartoon. And then at the end of it, Wolverine is reading a Bible in a church and crying. And it's like, whoa, that was heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But Wolverine, Nightcrawler getting his own, getting part of the intro. Great touch. Such a great touch.
Yeah.
But I do also like they're giving him the swords too, because even in the live action, you never saw Nightcrawler with the swords. So the fact that we are getting like the swashbuckling version of him, it does give me hope that maybe we will see a version of Excalibur next season.
Well, he is agile.
I would like to see Psylocke come back.
Yeah, she hasn't been in much. Do we think we'll find out what happened to Bishop? I think we'll get a teaser, but nothing else.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think they're going to go full throttle with one episode left.
Right.
I also think this episode is going to be like 40, 45 minutes because most episodes have been 30, but I think they may run a little longer on this one.
Have they confirmed it on IMDb at all?
I haven't looked. I'm just guessing as I think about it now.
Okay.
I'm looking now.
Okay. But yeah, I think Bishop will get some hint. I mean, I was surprised. I originally didn't like the short hair that he had because I prefer the longer hair, but the short hair kind of grew on me with him. Yeah. Yes. Bishop is a time traveler, yes.
Never met as Bishop.
It's funny because Bishop was never really in the original series that much. But whenever he was, those episodes were amazing. Because you had season 1 where he went back in time to stop Gambit from killing President Kelly.
I was gonna say, could Bishop go back in time and grab because he is a time traveler, he could grab Gambit, and that's how Gambit comes back?
Possibly, but remember, Rogue also was cradling Gambit's body, saying, Sugar, I can't feel you. So she couldn't absorb powers from a dead person.
Right, but I'm saying is he could go back the time before the actual explode, before it all.
I don't know. She was, like I said, she was cradling his body.
That would be Cable going back in time.
Well,
and then of course you have the question about whether it's a fixed point or not. So,
right, which I find funny that they actually brought in the whole idea of fixed points because of the MCU now. Mm-hmm. However, what does this mean when Bishop went back in time originally to stop Gambit from assassinating the president at the time?
But he went back to
the Brotherhood. So, if Bishop was successful and had killed Gambit during that time, what happens to Genosha then? If Gambit's not there to defeat Master Mold?
Well, if you remember, he went back to Back to the Future, and he went back to a different timeline because him and Forge had different memories at that point when he went back forward in time.
Right, but if this whole Genosha thing is like a singular point throughout any timeline, like Genosha always happens, then how is it even possible for him to possibly take out Gambit if Gambit is necessary for Genosha to happen?
I don't know, but the Genosha thing, I mean, if you remember Cable, he kept flipping out of time every time he tried to get in on that. And who knows, even back in season 1, because in season 1, when he was introduced in Genosha. So how does that tie into all of this as well?
And What's that? Did try in that one episode. He did try to. He's like, "You all need to leave," and then.
Right, and then he gets pulled back by something, which I don't necessarily know if that's time taking him out of it. I think it might be something
was
else.
Doing it. Yes, and also don't forget, Apocalypse was also in the center of time. So we're all fixed points
beyond good and evil, right? Or
yes. So maybe something in Apocalypse at that moment back in season 4 was causing all of this stuff in X-Men 97 too, to predate and force his arrival.
Yeah, we've been brought along on a storyline that obviously the creator decided was going to be very centralized, very storyline, as opposed to the episode.
And then they fired the guy.
Which that's what we were talking about before Ryan came in, is we were talking about the guy getting fired and our thoughts.
Dude, if they don't bring him back, oh my God, Disney is
dude. I don't know. I mean,
they did it with James Gunn. Just do what you did with James Gunn.
Yeah, but they're sticking with the guns because of Jonathan Majors, in a sense.
I don't know. It doesn't really make I mean, here's the thing. I don't think they're going to go back on it. I think they're going to basically double down on their opinion and be like, well, the fans didn't like it. It's their fault for not liking season 3.
Well, season 3 is just going to be like the way Mandalorians came up.
Which again, they blame the fans for not liking it.
But you can't. Okay, my thing is you can't blame something that you caused.
Of course you can. It's called blame shifting. It's a human nature thing now, especially now more than ever.
Yeah.
I will say I did.
Sorry, just to follow up.
Sorry.
Dang it. This is what happens when we have 4 people. Anyway, just following up, IMDb, Tolerance of Distinction, Part 3, no time limit listed. And I will note that the longest episode of the series so far has been Remember It at 37 minutes.
Okay.
So if anything, it could go longer than that, but it's not saying much more.
I would imagine it's going to go for at least 45. Knowing that that's 37, maybe it's an hour. I'd be okay with that. I think it'd be great.
But the question is, it says 37, but about 7 minutes of that is freaking the credits.
There are about 3 minutes worth of credits at the end of that. Yeah, English credits and then all the other foreign languages.
Yeah. Because I'll be like, don't I have another 5 minutes? And then the rest of it's just all credits.
You know, it's funny. I just realized something. When Gambit died in episode 5, when they did the recap, did they have Gambit's voice say previously on X-Men?
Good question.
Because the last episode, when Wolverine had the adamantium ripped out, he was the one that did the previously on X-Men.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're going to do some kind of a weird Dragon Ball Z abridged thing, where anybody who reads like the opening disclaimer is the character that dies in that episode.
I mean, that'd be a rough pull, man. But
I mean, only if there was a YouTube channel that has, or no, you only did the intros. I was gonna say.
Yeah. By the way, the intro.
Wow.
The intro for episode 10 will go up also Wednesday morning.
No, I was thinking that we did the last time, but no, it was just the sounds and the different
Yamcha. Dude, Yamcha. I told this to Masako X last week. I was like, Yamcha and Gohan are my favorite 2 characters in Dragon Ball. You know, Yamcha gets screwed over, and they keep screwing over Gohan. So,
right, which I do have to say, of all the characters this season, I do feel like they shortchanged Bishop. Like, I really do hope that he does show up in episode 10, considering you started off the season with him. And technically, he wasn't even there at the end of the original series. When you see, like, all the X-Men looking up as Charles Xavier is being shifted into space, Bishop isn't there.
And he's just there in episode 1.
Why is he here? Why was he there in episode 1 and 2 and 3? It's like, if you're going to go ahead and you start off the series with the guy, bring him in. Like, to switch him out and then have nothing and then Cable come in, like, I don't know. Like, respect for Bishop, man.
They respect. I think they'll explain that and go into a lot more with that with season 2. Why he was there originally. You know, I think they might expand his story arc where he has a couple of episodes on his own, whenever he is, really.
Or Shard.
Yeah, Shard's also in that mixture too, yeah. But also, if you notice, a lot of the intros also had Nimrod and the alternate timeline, Wolverine and Storm. They haven't made an appearance in the series yet, but they keep showing up in the intro.
Yeah, same thing with like when Storm beat the Callisto for the Morlocks, when you had the Dark Phoenix.
He killed Callisto and Gleek, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, like a lot of the clips, or a lot of like the redone clips that they show from the original series that are put into the intro, they all do somewhat have like some kind of connection to the overarching story. Now, obviously, you could say with the whole stuff with Nimrod was in order to make sure that, you know, we understood that Nimrod was also part of Bastion, connecting that thread. But I don't know. There's so much that can be gleaned off of this. That's why I think a lot of people might be expecting Apocalypse, because Apocalypse is like the only person that you probably saw in the intros that has not come into this season. And that's maybe because it's not so much for Apocalypse, but it's probably more for Cable.
I want Onslaught. Like I said, I think that would be such a great move. Oh, yeah. Don't forget Fitzroy.
Oh, yeah. The guy he went back for the second time we showed
it. Yeah, which actually in the original comic series, it was actually Legion who did it, who went back in time and inadvertently killed his own father. And that's how
right, which unfortunately, if things are to be believed, Legion also died on Genosha.
Could be, yes.
I never understood why that guy was Legion still, though. I mean, yes, he's got the hair, but the shirt. It just why would he be a Morlock of all things? Man's one of the most powerful ever, and he's a Morlock. Did nothing during Genosha, and yet has more powers than anybody could possibly count.
Maybe he just liked the environment. Maybe he liked the scenery. Maybe it was love. Maybe he fell in love with a Morlock. Maybe that really super paper thin rainbow lady, or whatever her name is.
Oh, and don't get me started on the whole leech thing. Like, I'm sorry. Yes, you're being nice to the child. The one child that can zap away a mutant's powers just by being near them. But you want to coddle that kid while fending off a huge, gigantic laser beam.
But you know what, though? Magneto would basically, protect a fellow mutant. He's that loyal.
Yeah, and look where it got him.
Oh, he's still alive, though,
I'm sorry. I'm salty on, like, some of the plot holes in this series drive me insane.
Really? I don't know. I thought it was kind of like, when he spoke German to Gleek, even though he basically knew that Gleek was going to die. I thought that was a nice touch. So, Moira and Banshee are dead too.
I would believe so. Otherwise, they would have probably been there on Moore Island when they went
It's
to.
a fair point. They never
redress
came back
themselves.
after that. Yeah, all right. Wow, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people died on Genosha.
Yeah,
Pretty
they
much
had a few thousand.
yeah, look back and see how many people they showed in that thing, whether it be Pixie, whether it be I want to say Marrow might have been there. I didn't know if I saw Marrow or not, but there were like visuals of X-Men that hadn't even shown up in the comics while the original series was running that ended up on Genosha. Not gonna see him in the next season.
All right, here we go. Actually, you know what? Let me do this. And eventually we'll move on to Day's thing in a minute. But the list from Screen Rant, basically Morrow died alongside Banshee. Moira McTaggart killed off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Bo DeMeo did confirm on X that she's okay.
This is like after Avengers Infinity when we were trying to find out who got dusted and who didn't.
Yes, right. Yes, Squid Boy, Dazzler. Yeah, Dazzler died.
What?
Yeah, I knew that one.
Really?
Damn.
Yeah, Dazzler.
I do love that there's like a newfound respect for Dazzler. For
Sure.
the longest time she was just like,
well, yeah, because we all wanted to shake it off.
Well, Dazzler was only in a couple of episodes in, I think, the Dark Phoenix saga. So
possibly, but I mean, I think just because they had Jubilee, they didn't need Dazzler. So
fair.
I mean, that was the replacement of it.
Sebastian Shaw, yeah, that I knew happened, but surprised me just the things. I figured it's too powerful to die from that.
They killed Kevin Bacon.
Yes, actually.
Yeah, I was Bacon got fried.
But if you noticed, Emma Frost, they did talk about her second mutation, the diamond mutation.
Yeah, which at that point during the show had not been shown up.
Yeah,
but obviously we learned about it through like the movies.
Yeah. Callisto, yeah, that dead look right there. It's like, holy crap, man.
The Morlocks, man. The Morlocks got run through.
Madeline Pryor, yeah, we knew about that one. But that takes care of
that's probably the saddest right there.
Yeah. The one time he just says, mom. Well, okay, Magneto isn't, but that's Leech. Yeah, Leech. Yeah. See, that makes me kind of sad,
Yeah. Well, remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is only a different universe.
Yeah, Tommy, Ergo, and Ape. Yeah, the three Morlock. Yeah, she was the one I was trying to remember over here on the bottom left.
Oh, Ergo.
Yeah, is that Ergo?
Well, the one with like the rainbow hair.
Yeah, the one on the bottom left.
Yeah, that's Ergo. Ape is the one on the bottom right, I believe.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, and then of course, Remy.
Dude.
Sugar, I can't feel you.
Like it was fine when they killed off Morph in like the first episode because like nobody knew who Morph was, nobody cared.
Yeah, but it did show how serious the series was, though.
Yeah, damn.
So
wait, Morph
this is all the more reason I hope Channing Tatum plays him in Deadpool Wolverine.
Hashtag
I think he's going to show up
for Gambit. But
yeah, I think he's going to show up, and I believe they're saying if he does show up, it's going to be not just a cameo; he's going to be pivotal.
Legit, okay.
So good for him because that movie could have been good, but Fox in there,
yeah. We'll find out in a couple of days. Again, the live stream is going to be happening 3 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be popping on.
Didn't we want to do it like a half hour prior? So
I was literally in the middle of the sentence to say that. I literally started that part of the sentence when you cut me off.
You said 3, so I'm going on 3.
I know, and I said basically we're doing a live stream starting at 3. We're going to be starting about 2:30, about a half an hour prior. Rob also knows because I mentioned it earlier in the show. They did say that, and then give or take maybe a half an hour afterwards for discussion, give or take. So that will be happening at 2:30 a.m. Show starts at 3 a.m. to drop. I will again be putting the intro up as well. So the finale intro, because I got to finish out the playlist in this case. I've got the first 9. I got to put number 10 up there, and honestly, the subscriber count is really good. So I'm not going to say no to that. I think we picked up like 500, 600 subscribers at least from those 9 intros. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Not that we're shilling or anything, but I'm just saying.
We'll take any nerds we can get.
Listen, it's all about building to 2025.
Hey, I resent that.
You're a nerd too.
I
Yeah,
resent.
you resemble it. You don't resent it.
All right. Actually, we're at this point. I think we're going to turn it over to probably arguably like me the final topic of this. This is Davion's baby in this case.
Yeah.
Putting it here. WTF NYC. First Rick Moranis. Now Steve Buscemi. For those that are unaware of this, and I don't think many are at this point unaware, it came out recently that Steve Buscemi, best known for Boardwalk Empire, former fireman for the FDNY at one point, also a lot of Adam Sandler films and a long litany of careers. The meme, "How do you do, fellow kids?" Steve Buscemi was recently cold clocked in New York City. The perp, last I knew, is still currently at large. They have not found him. And this comes about a year after Rick Moranis went through the same thing, where he was just straight up slugged, while walking down the street. Buscemi is okay. He's feeling all right, but the internet has responded in kind. And frankly, they're pretty pissed off because one of the most beloved actors and kindest people, and I can say from firsthand experience, I will say this outright, one of the kindest people that Hollywood has to offer, was straight slugged out of nowhere by some douchebag, who has not been found yet. Day, this is what you wanted to bring up, so I'm giving it over to you, man. Go for it.
Dear Lord, forgive me for what I'm about to say. It may not be appropriate for little minors.
And record.
This is my take. We suffered from the whole aspect of Rick Moranis being clocked in the face. And they finally found the person that did it. Well, they've been found him, But let somebody like me find somebody like that. I will bring hellfire and brimstone onto him. Because Rick Moranis is a national treasure. He shall not be harmed. In the same situation as Steve Buscemi, he is a national treasure. He is somebody that you should not consider putting your hands on. And when they find you, I hope they rain 1,000 heaps of storm of fiery whatever onto you. Because what you have done, I hope you don't live with yourself. I hope you run and tell the wrong person so they can rat and say, "Oh, I know who hit this guy, Steve Machete." Because guess what? They're coming for you. They are coming for you. They're coming to you with horses. They're coming to you with Mustangs, even Dodge Mustangs.
No Pintos.
I hope they rain down the line I will not say from Tropic Thunder on you.
Hey, I'm surprised you're not doing the Ezekiel 25:17 monologue.
No. I'm doing Tom Cruise from Tropic Thunder when he played.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you're going biblical.
No.
And I'm like,
that was more powerful. When you watch Tropic Thunder, ladies and gentlemen, tell me who's powerful. Tom Cruise performance or the other guy? I really say Tom Cruise. Because that dude scared the crap out of me.
And he had so much fun with that role too.
Wait, you're saying that speech is more powerful than Sam Jackson?
It actually put fear in you.
No, I got to go with Pulp Fiction on that one, but I see your point.
Yeah.
The Pulp Fiction one is iconic. Tom Cruise is a funny cameo.
It's a funny cameo, but it made you think for a minute, like, wait a minute. I'm talking about George F. You know what?
Well, that's the thing. You could do the Pulp Fiction one without swearing.
Now, if you're wondering about what this guy looks like that clocked him, this is not a small guy here. This is a big dude.
And you want to know something? I don't care. I will cave his chest in with my foot.
I'd like to see
but that's the thing. It's like a guy like that, you still can't tell whether or not it's a homeless person or not. So
I don't care. You don't clock
it seems
people.
more likely.
Here's the issue. In the United States, statistically, 80% of assault cases do not lead to an arrest. Not even talking. I'm not talking like actual conviction. 4 out of 5 don't even lead to an arrest. So the longer this goes on, the more likely this dude's going to get away with it. But it does, I think, affect certain things in New York. Day, when you're done, I'll chime in for a sec. But I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who have common sense, because there's those that don't. For those who do, you already know the whole gratitude of not putting your hands on nobody, regardless of how you feel personally. Those who don't know about common sense, I pray to God you don't meet someone that gonna beat it out of you, because it's not gonna be pretty.
You got the Stephen A. Smith thing going on right now. Have you heard?
I know.
A little bit.
I hope they basically stump a mud hole in your chest.
Ooh.
To a point where it's nothing but mush.
Oh, he's getting a little stone cold.
I hope they basically, matter of fact, I would love for them to step on your face. If you're a pretty boy, if you're a pretty girl, that you would not be able to find your happy moment, your happiness. That's how bad I hope they step on your face. I'm talking about not even killing you, because trust and believe, killing you wouldn't even make a difference.
Should I mute this? No. Are we going to get in trouble if I don't?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was pretty much about to say, you know what? That's all we have, Mr. Boosie. We'll be in contact with you, but I like you, and you might have to part, but we will be in touch.
Yeah.
But
I think we're good.
But at the end of the day, for
We're
those who don't believe in not putting their hands on people, is it okay for me to swear?
We're late enough in.
That's
The
the word.
algorithm will find it.
Yeah.
I would say this.
I will kick the poo out of you. Oh,
No. You put your hands on somebody, find out, you're going to fuck around and find out.
Oh, that old chestnut.
Faffer.
And that's all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen. For those,
Oh, how about those Mets? They wanted to walk off. Yay, woo!
but we do prayerfully pray for Stephen Machete for his well-being, and pray that he's 100%, and pray that he's mentally 100%, because this is a bad thing. But if I have to go into that deep dark realm again, and if another celebrity that is an iconic person, I will find you.
Celebrities need to just stop walking in New York.
No.
That's where I wanted to. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have some thoughts there, but Scott, you go ahead first.
I was going to say, if this stuff continues, the first time was an anomaly. Now it's a habit. Are celebrities going to leave there and go to places that are more laid back and safer? And if so, are they going to be taking the film sets with them?
Jersey.
That's my curiosity.
Jersey.
Good. I'll take it. Listen, Jersey's got a higher tax rate than New York in some cases. So 39%.
But here's the thing, though, and this kind of almost upsets me to the degree that just earlier this year, there was like a whole flood of TikTokers, women in New York City, that were reporting that they were getting punched and harassed by men on the streets in New York. And they did their due diligence. They did everything they could in order to get that guy found and arrested. However, you don't hear about that and whatever is continuously going on. You only hear about if Rick Moranis or Steve Buscemi gets hit. Now, Rick Moranis, I can almost understand, because he's Canadian. He's been out of the limelight. Not a lot of people probably would have recognized him walking down the street.
No,
Dane, be serious. There was probably a whole generation that knows
No.
nothing about Rick Moranis.
No.
Yeah,
However-
agreed.
However, Steve Buscemi, who, yes, is a New York local, is a former fire department man. He is one of the staples of Happy Madison Productions as far as like his characters are concerned. The man was in Reservoir Dogs. He was Mr. Pink. He's the only one who got out of there freaking alive.
Big Lebowski.
And
Big Lebowski,
Armageddon.
yes. And not to mention, as far as just local work, Boardwalk Empire,
Yes,
right here on the Jersey Shore.
which was very good for me, by the way.
The man is so entrenched in stories and productions around the tri-state area that for someone to go ahead and just take a slug at him, which, mind you, yes, from a physicality standpoint, he does look kind of mean. But for them to go ahead and cold cock a guy and just run off, like, it feels like we're playing the knockout game from, like, you know, a decade or so ago.
That's still a thing. Knockout's still a thing.
It
Put the
is.
picture of the
But-
guy that punched him. Put the picture up.
They did.
No, again.
I know, but they did. But unfortunately, just because you have the picture, that do they have the video of it happening?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that is a rip. That is a big.
Well, that's
dude
the
right
thing. Yeah, that's the thing. They don't even have the video, which is why these things don't end up in arrest, because it's he said, she said, or he said, and rarely does it ever get caught on video, which for New York is surprising considering how many cameras there are all throughout the city. And even Scott, you have been on this show and you've told about things that you've done in New York where you've been assaulted, and that was just over by your car in the parking lot. Like,
Oh,
New
yeah.
York City has to get itself to a point where it gets this stuff under control, because it's already such a mecca for Hollywood, a mecca for movies. So many movies have taken place in this city
Yeah.
that if it gets to a bad reputation, you can forget about it. They'll make a soundstage in Canada and do everything there just because it's cheaper.
When
Yep.
Neil
So this
Patrick-
is more about New York pride at this point. When stuff like that starts happening, that becomes high profile, and the city does nothing about it, you think Hollywood is going to care? Why do you think so much stuff has been happening in Atlanta?
Mhm.
The fact that so much is happening in Atlanta. Think about that, folks.
Well, Atlanta's also a right to work
by
state,
Hollywood
too, so-
standards, is now currently safer than New York City.
And it's the number one spot.
That's a
for acting.
lie.
No.
Number 3 right now.
no.
Number 3.
It's not that much of a lie, Day. It's not that much of a lie, especially considering how much production has been done down there.
Atlanta is a right to work state, which makes it less expensive to film there. But the
And you
problem
get a
is trying to
tax.
find like a New York City-esque environment is tougher. So they have to go to New Jersey for that. They have to go to Toronto for that. Yonkers isn't bad there either. But yeah, the issue exists is the fact that, you know, there are so many options this place that they can go, that there are safer options. And if this stuff kind of continues, especially if it happens a third time, you know, you're going to start seeing some actors be like, you know what, I don't need this. You know, we can Blue Bloods was pushed so many times to go out west or Chicago. If Tom Selleck got clocked, say in season 7 or 8, guaranteed the show would have been gone. You know,
Now,
if
for us in the tri-state area, like 3 out of the 4 people here on this panel, if they decide to go to like Pennsylvania or New Jersey or someplace at least close enough where they can still get work done, but they're on the outskirts from the bad area, it doesn't necessarily affect us. Have talent will travel, but the city itself needs that revenue, needs that push up more so than it ever probably could have, because of all the bad press that's been getting this year, whether it's people walking on the street, whether it's the stuff happening on the subways. New York is a scary, scary place, more so than it ever was back when you actually had like drug pushers and hookers in Times Square. Not good.
When I was on set, Neil Patrick Harris had a show, I think, on Netflix a couple years ago. And one of the HMU people was on set. And they said, what I'm seeing right now is the same thing that I saw back in the 70s when I was growing up here. So a lifetime New Yorker said 50 years later is the exact same thing.
Yeah. And there's not even as much porn around there now. So what's the
That is
fun?
true. But, you know, you have access, via your phone, so problem solved.
I
But,
blame Giuliani.
He did get rid of the strip clubs. Yeah, that's true. But as somebody who has watched a guy literally wipe his bare ass with paper towels on a subway and then drop the paper towels on the floor, by the way, true story. This happened about 6 to 8 weeks ago. You know, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he was just wiping bare ass there, you know, just dropping the stuff on the floor. He picked it up later when he left, but no one sat where he was. I sat across from where he was, but this
that reminds me of the lady I found on the subway when back when I was working in the city. There was a lady that was just sitting there, lots of coats on her, carrying around this black plastic bag, and the plastic bag was like on the ground. And as she was leaving to leave the train car, she's dragging the bag on the ground. There is just like this colored liquid that we don't, to this day, we don't know what it was, but
What
nobody
color
was touching
was
it. And there was just like a dividing line in the subway car. You're either on that side of the slime or that side of the slime. Nobody's going near it. But
It was
that's
sort of like that one
allowed.
episode of Seinfeld with the naked guy. You see like all the people on the far side.
Yes.
But yeah, that's
Oh
New
my
York
God.
City for you. And it's funny because New York City is like, well, that's just the city. It's like when it was a couple 3 weeks ago. I was walking down the street with a bunch of other BG, and there was some regular people in the city coming up. And one of the BG in front of me said, dude, over there, watch out for this down here. There's diarrhea, and there was straight diarrhea on the sidewalk. It was just a puddle of poop. And the dude watched it. He thanked the dude. They parted his friends and everything like that. But this is New York City. You have to watch out for any kind of excrement, human of whatever mammal it might be. Biped, quadruped. You don't know.
Right.
The greatest city in the world.
I've had crap thrown at my head so many times at this point. I had an overnight about a week and a half ago, and I'm driving back, and it's like 6:30 in the morning up the West Side Highway, and there's a dude waving this gigantic stick like a sword. And he's just swinging it, like just, like trying to like fight off demons or something. And it was just like, okay, it's, it's like, that's New York City. And people are like, well, yeah, no, that's just New York City for you. It's like, dude, you go to Toronto, you don't see that crap.
You go to Newark, you don't see that crap.
No, Newark, I just got a beer bottle smashed across the side of my head in Branchbrook Park. 2 minutes after I heard someone yell out, holy shit, a white person. So that actually happened to me once. Yeah. Almost lost my eye because it cut me like right across here. Yeah.
But so yeah,
New York had to call you Scar.
Yeah, that's your town, pal.
Yeah, get your act together.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we're all gonna just,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, all three of us, we're just gonna get up and move, and we'll go back wherever Rob is.
Yeah,
we'll
this
stay
is
in
why
his
Rob
area.
lives in Arkansas.
We'll make
Wait.
Chicago our thing.
I can run this company from New Zealand just as easily as I can run it from Jersey.
I can't go to Arkansas.
What?
I can't go to Arkansas.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I can?
Yeah.
He'll let you.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Davion.
Yeah,
That's Scott. That's right. And that's Rob.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of done at this point. So
Yeah, that's all
Yes,
I wanted to do was
Arkansas.
do the Ezekiel speech myself, but
dude, okay, you know what?
They put
Wrap
it
it
in
out
my
on the
head now.
Ezekiel speech. Go, sir.
Yeah, wrap it out.
What?
all right. This is how they should have gotten angry in regards to all that. Like the cool, calm, collected thing. I understand that, but dude, nothing gets over like Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the in the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly my brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy thy brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord, where I lay my vengeance upon thee.